Give it up for Marcellus.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't we start, the early part of your DJ career? Because you're at the moment you're very much known for playing house and techno, disco, but your roots are actually in hip hop, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. You started DJing in the early '90s.
Well, when I started DJing, I used to buy records before I even got a pair of turntables.
So you're investing in the future, right?
Yeah. Even when I was, like 13 years old, even before, I decided to become a disc jock, I would buy records, And when I heard a DJ by the name of Mr. Mix from this group called Two Live Crew, and that's what's up. I heard him scratch, and that was the dopest shit I ever heard in my life. His cuts were precise. I'm like, wow, I know I could do that. And my cousin, he's a DJ as well. He goes by the name of DJ Raja. And with DJ Raja decided to take me under his wing, and I would do like proms, cabarets. Oh, sorry. Proms, cabarets, wedding receptions. I was young, like 16, and I would carry his crates and help him carry this. This boom box was huge. The size of this table. It only had two 18-inch woofers, but this thing was so heavy. Like, it was cool getting it in, but after like 7 hours, 7 hours of DJing and that thing was so heavy. We would sit and chill for like 2 hours, and then lift that heavy thing up, stick it inside of the trailer, keep it in the trailer overnight because it was that heavy. But I used to help him, carry the stuff around. The errand boy and whatever.
Box boy, was they call it here. So, So it's kind of like a family mini sound, mini sound system, right?
Yeah. And so my first ever gig was at University of Michigan, and they did this thing called an old school party. And it was Halloween night, and I begged my cousin. I'm like, man, you gotta let me get on the box. I know I can rock him. And he finally let me do it, and everybody, yeah, I was like, yes, I told you I could do it,
So,
yeah.
What kind of tunes were, yeah?
Well, old school, there's stuff like Michael Jackson, Thriller, Off the Wall, Prince, Chic, stuff like that. Ron DMC, Houdini, stuff like that. So, and I had them rocking, and they was feeling it.
So I guess with the, let's call them crowd pleasers, because they're great records, obviously.
Top 40.
Yeah, top 40. But credible top 40.
Right.
So I guess for you, the early part of your career, it was about having this connection with the audience, right?
Right.
Yeah?
Exactly.
So at what point did you go from playing to the crowd to steering the crowd and starting to dictate what the crowd should be inspired by, as opposed to being inspired by commercial?
Wow, nice question. Nice. Wow.
You're at CDR, man. That's what we do.
Dang, I had to think through the clouds of smoke. St. Andrew's Hall.
Okay.
It was St. Andrew's Hall. I don't know if anybody's been to Detroit for a movement.
Who's been to Detroit? Okay, 1, 2.
And you're probably familiar with St. Andrew's Hall. But back in the 90s, they used to do this thing called 3 Floors of Fun. I think I was telling you that the top floor was dance music. The main floor was hip hop. You know, not the hip hop now. You know, stuff like Tribe Called Quest. You know, Black Sheep, stuff like that. And the bottom floor was alternative music. You know, like Nirvana. You know, stuff like that. And I was fortunate enough to play on the top floor and the main floor. And the resident DJs at the top floor were Billy Bob and DJ Billy Bob and Mike Huckabee. Okay. And so Mike Huckabee, he worked at a record shop called Record Time, and he was the main buyer. And he asked me that I wanted to come down and play at 3 Floors of Fun. I said, yeah. And I did it. And again, I got the crowd. I grabbed the crowd. So
what did he see in you? Looking back, what did he see in you that was, you know, he knew you could rock the crowd beyond, you know, playing?
I was young.
Okay.
You know, I was young, and wasn't too many young DJs, you know, that were just like, I want to play, you know. And a lot of them was just scared or, you know, bedroom DJs, you know. But it was only a few of us, you know, like myself, Kevin Reynolds, Mike Servito. We were like the new generation, you know what I mean? And you know, we just started doing parties, and everybody liked it, you know. So here we are today, old men, you know.
wise men. So it's interesting because for us, you know, the idea that you have a club that plays, you know, house and techno on one floor, you know, great hip hop on another floor, right, and, you know, guitar based indie music on that's impossible for us. Impossible.
Well, the funny thing is, St. Andrews is still open and operating, but it's not what it used to be. You know, it's a kiddie disco, okay, right? But yeah, the partying back then, man, it was amazing, man. You know, I mean, it could be a room full of I mean, capacity. Sure. Next week, 5 people. You know, but still, it was the party. Everybody danced. You know, it wasn't two-step like it is now. You know, they danced. They danced towards the speaker. Okay. You know.
So I'm trying to get the idea that so on each floor, was there kind of a different dancing style? Was there a kind of like a house techno style of dancing?
Yes.
Maybe the Running Man on the middle floor,
right?
And just moshing on the, or was it Running Man?
Middle floor,
Running Man to Nirvana. You know.
Yeah, more like Running Man to Nirvana. Break dancers and the jitters on the main floor, and the jitters and the ravers on the top floor. You know, and man, and I remember one time. Buzz Gorey played on the top floor, and that was one of the best sets I've ever heard. And that's what really he inspired me, you know.
What was it about that set that was so memorable?
I came up to him and asked him to play a track, and he said, "No, get out my face." And I was like, "Yes." I like DJs like that, you know. No holds barred, you know. And I respected him ever since then, you know. Yeah.
So was it about I guess he's just his focus, you know, you're gonna listen to what I've got.
Yes.
Yeah. You're on my
and that's when I learned in this music, no requests. Please do not come up to the DJ and request a certain song. Because I think it's a meme on Facebook where there's a guy and has his hand on the girl's head, and she want to ask for a request, and like, no. So
I think we've all had those kind of experiences, and luckily, I guess a lot of the clubs you play of late, you know, it's more requesting, you know, your recordings or 3 Chairs recordings or like recordings rather than hearing, you know, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Although that's okay, particularly if you filter out the main vocal, kick drum, four.
Right, there we go.
Side change the, it's fine. We'll get into that another time.
No, I stick to the original, So, I mean, but what was the question?
Smells Like Teen Spirit.
What about it?
It's a great tune.
Yeah, it
is. Yeah, and Come As You Are. That's also a good tune.
Yeah.
So, for Detroit music lovers, what would you say keeps people in Detroit? Obviously, coming from the UK, we have this obviously, part romantic notion of what Detroit is. A lot of music that inspire us, both in terms of DJing, in terms of aesthetic, production aesthetic, the history. We've got this kind of romantic notion of it. But what is it really like?
Detroit is grimy. Believe it or not, our music scene is small. It's very small compared to other cities, but as far as unity, I think we have a lot of people beat, because like back in the 90s with the 3 Floors of Fun, like you will find Jay Dilla upstairs listening to techno. In fact, he made house and techno.
Okay.
So, or Eminem up the stairs, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Before everybody, got on and did that thing, but everybody supported, and still do actually, so. But yeah, it's small. But there's a lot of clubs propping up right now, so.
Well, playing. What kind of music are these new clubs playing?
Zombie music.
Okay, what's zombie music to you?
Zombie music is the music you turn on you listen to. Well, hopefully nobody in here listens to zombie music, but zombie music consists of the mainstream artists with that monotonous, let me shut up.
Well, thing is,
mainstream music.
Okay, so artists like.
I refuse to say the names. But you know the music when you hear it.
I don't, I haven't got a clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, when you turn on your radio and you hear garbage music,
okay.
Zombie music.
Okay.
Yeah, zombie music.
Was there always zombie music in your opinion, or is it have things become more zombified?
Things have become more zombified. If you like rap, oh my God, I can't listen to it now, the stuff you hear, man, it's like I don't understand why people listen to somebody mumble and they love it. I'm like, wow.
But there's different kinds of mumbling. There's James Brown mumbling, which is fine.
But at least James Brown was funky.
Okay, all right.
James Brown was funky, and if you was from the southern parts of the states, you kind of understand what he was saying. My mother, she's from the south, so when I hear her talk, she still has her southern, accent. So I'm like, okay, I can understand, But like, what? Seriously, you like that? Wow, I need to start making that stuff. Man, it's easy,
So there's something about that music being zombified, and the mumbling lyrics probably is a reflection of the zombie state of mind, perhaps. But each generation has their own. Perhaps people were, in the days of the 3 Floors and listening to Golden Era, people thought Das Effects were mumbling, or Black Sheep were mumbling, or So wouldn't you agree?
No. Black Sheep, you can understand. You can understand what they're saying, All of those groups you can understand.
Okay.
I mean, they're pronouncing their words. The hibba is not pronouncing nothing. You're mumbling.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's my take on it.
So no zombie music for you, no zombie clubs for you,
No.
But what's interesting though is that you know, your early career, you know, you've always been about pleasing the crowd or having this connection with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, and I'm guessing that, you know, playing Prince and playing Michael Jackson at all, there was a connection there, and albeit that music was mainstream music. Mm-hmm. So, in your opinion, you know, why have things become so zombified? If music was, you know, commercial music was rich and, you know, much more, I won't say much more intricate, I won't start loading you, but why is it that it was great then and not great now, in your opinion?
Wow, yeah, that's a good question. Tell you the truth, I don't know. All I know is that the music from the 90s on back, they had something to say. You know what I mean? But now, like, you know, songs about sex. Mm-hmm. It was real subtle. Mm-hmm. You know, like Turn on the Lights. Mm-hmm. And Teddy Pendergrass TKL. You know it was about sex, but it was smooth. You know it was subtle. Now it's just blatant out there in your face.
You've only got 440 characters nowadays, so you know.
Right. So I mean, wow. You know, I miss the times when it was just smooth and subtle. You know. So
subtlety needs to come back.
Yeah, you know, why not? You know, I think the only artist that was kind of close to getting to that subtlety was what's his name, Neo. Okay. You know, I think he was a good songwriter. Mm-hmm. You know, so.
Okay. So that's less zombified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So.
All right. So obviously, from DJing, from having this connection with crowds, at some point you decided to start making music, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So talk us about your early music making. How did you take your enthusiasm for DJing and connecting with crowds to making music?
Wow, clouds of smoke. I've always wanted to make music, and when I finally got the chance to do it, I was happy and enthused about it. Of course, you listen to it now, it's whack, you know. But, you know, I had a friend named Javant, and I went over Javant and Malik Austin. Okay. And they let me come over to their house and make tracks, and they helped me out because I was, you know, a novice. You know, I didn't know what I was doing, you know, and you know, they showed me a little something, you know. And so I made it, and I was like, wow. And so fast forward 2 years, 1995. It was me and my homies. We made a group called Homegrown, and that was like my very first production. Okay. All mine, original tracks. The album, the tape didn't come out until 1998, okay. Local. Mm-hmm. You know.
So it took 3 years to develop it.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was a headache, man. It was like, I kept telling them, like, let's just do more songs. Let's stop trying to correct this little vocal part. And I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Y'all gonna see what I'm talking about in the future. And now they call me, man. You was right, man. We should have kept making more tunes. I'm like, nope, I don't want to hear it. Nope, I told you that. But all in all, the tape came out, and I mean, it didn't sell too much. You know, he's local, you know. And
what tempo were these tracks?
It was hip hop.
Okay.
Yeah, hip hop.
You know, did you rhyme it? Were you rhyming?
Yeah, I got one track with me rapping on it.
Okay.
One track, yeah.
Okay. No mumbling.
Yeah. No mumbling. No mumbling. You can understand, you know. Actually, two tracks. Two tracks. Yeah.
Have you got it?
No, unfortunately, no. That's kind of embarrassed here. I don't want to hear it. Especially me rapping. I'll stick to the beats, man. Yeah. But yeah, it was fun though. I mean, from the good and bad, it was you know, it was a learning experience. And then fast forward a few months later, I did a record with Theo Parrish, which is The Night of the Sagittarius. And it came out in 1999. And that was my very first collab with Theo Parrish. You know.
So how did that come about?
I met Theo at Melodies and Memories in 1994. And it was me and my homeboy Howard Thomas, who also has something on Theo Parrish's label. And we were going record shopping, and he's working there, and he took a liking to us because we were everywhere around the store. We weren't just in the house section. We were like in the country rock. We didn't care. We wanted some good music, you know. And he's like, oh, see,
is that good music to listen to or good music to sample?
To listen to.
Okay.
And sample. He's like, yeah, I see y'all everywhere. Not too many people do that, you know. And we just clicked ever since. Yeah.
So I'm curious. So to you, was it like a natural thing just to go from, you know, making hip hop tempo feel attached to doing more up tempo?
Yeah, I'm schizo when it comes to music, man. You know, I can't stick to one style or listen to one style. You know what I mean? And you got to slow it down, speed it up. You know. I may make a hip hop track one day and then a techno track. Like, wow, you do techno? Yeah. Love techno. Good techno.
Well, the thing I found really interesting, particularly for a lot of Detroit producers, and you know, a lot of the, you know, your peers, you know, their production aesthetic is definitely from a kind of hip hop perspective. Do you know what I mean? Hip hop aesthetic in terms of use of samples and manipulating samples and, you know, having a particular character. Right. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's because of Motown, man. It's Motown. I don't know what it is. It's still got that spirit. It's that spirit hovering over Detroit. And you had artists like JD, you know, who just like blew everybody's mind with the illest production ever. And you had another dope producer and I don't think he wants to talk about it, but he went by the name of E-Pod. But now everybody knows him as Quentin Harris. Okay. But Quentin Harris and Jay Dilla were the two best hip-hop producers in Detroit at that time. And DJ Head. And, but everybody listened to everything. It wasn't just, you know, I'm going to stick to hip-hop, you know.
But there's something about making hip-hop that's very, I mean, you know, I won't use the word narrow, but it's almost like making hip hop has this kind of culture and this kind of community.
Right.
And I guess making music beyond hip hop is different, right? Mm-hmm. It's a bit more open. Would you agree?
Yeah, Detroit. Yeah, man. Like I said, that Motown spirit, man. It's like when he left, it hurt a lot of people in Detroit when he left. And so, I guess we took it out on him. I don't, so to speak, you know. So, the music just got more. I don't know what to say. More experimental. So
his passing was a platform for self-expression.
Yes.
You know, I guess because. You know, we're not on this planet a long time, so let's make use of it while we're here, kind of thing.
Yes, man. And, you know, back then, like I said, JD, Quentin Harris, DJ Head. I mean, you had a bunch of local, talented hip-hop and house. You know, people that don't do house no more, you know. I mean, sick production, man, you know. And you still have some of them around today. But, like myself.
and two other guys.
Yeah, two.
We should talk about in a minute.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So you're still using the same kit, right? So I guess you use the MPC 2000.
Sure. Yeah. I'm trying to collect every MPC ever made.
Okay.
And so far, like I said, I have the 4000. I have two 1000s, two 2000 XLs, MPC 500, and that's it so far. Yeah.
So you got the 60 to get, the 3000
the 60, the 60 MK2, the 3000, the 5000, 2500, and there's one more I'm forgetting.
The sequencer as well. Don't forget the sequencer.
Yeah. Sequencer. Yeah. I'm trying to collect them all.
Okay.
So.
Well, we can help with that, right? Yeah, we'll help you.
MPCs for sale, anybody? Oh, missing the 2000.
Okay.
Regular 2000.
Of course, yeah. So for those of us who haven't had the pleasure of using an MPC, let alone the 2000 or XL or whatever, tell us, what is it about the MPC that's,
It's so easy to use. And, like, you can learn from other people about tricks on the MPC, but my favorite right now is the 1000. Okay. I just like.
Is that because it's portable and?
Yeah, it's portable and the effects are built in already and the filters are dope, man. But the one thing about the MPC is the save function. They got to improve on that. They have to improve on that, But yeah,
what's wrong with it? As in, it doesn't save.
No, it doesn't save. Like both of my 1000 don't save. I can't save. So I can't stand it.
But in a way, let's put a positive spin on it. Yeah. Maybe it's because you have to finish the tracks that you start. Do you know what I mean?
What if I finish it and I want to save and I can't? I got to leave it on and
you just finish
record it into Logic or my hard drive. My 24 track Tascam. And that's a bit frustrating. Okay. But I still use it. That's my baby.
And I guess you're just a creature of habit, right? So you had the MPC since the beginning of your music making.
Yes, sir.
Bar, my understanding is bar a couple of other keyboards. It's pretty much that's been your stalwart thing for.
Actually, my very first beat machine was a SP12, and I still have it.
Can I have it, please?
No.
Why not?
You want to die tonight, don't you? No, I'll never sell that. That's my baby, Yeah, but I made my very first track on there, which came out on the 3 chairs, 12-inch all over. That was made on the SP12. Okay. Yeah.
So you don't switch between the two. Was that just the SP12 for one tune, and then you're like, okay, MPC is the way to go because of the flexibility and. Not being able to save, but it's got good filters,
My baby is down right now, the SP12. I can't sample. Like, there's something wrong with the input. Okay. So, yeah. But I still have it. It's collecting dust.
Well, I can help you with that. If you bring it to London.
I'm okay. Yeah,
I can help you with that.
I know a lot of people that can fix,
I'm just saying, just saying.
Don't hurt to try,
Indeed.
Yeah, but.
So you're not really, apart from using Logic, MPC's your thing. I mean, what's interesting is that,
I just recently purchased Logic, and I was hooked for a minute, man. Like, I was making beats strictly on Logic, I can play some for you.
Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. Wouldn't you think? Yeah. Okay, what you got for us?
Let's see. Hopefully it'll work this time.
It should work. It has to. So while Marcellus is booting up, if you've got any pressing questions, just keep them in your cranium somewhere, and we'll share. Yeah. Okay.
Hopefully this will play. But this track, I named it Dogon Ancestors. All right.
Right, we got sound, right?
Just a little something, you know. Thank you.
Yeah, it's working. It's working.
Yeah, practice track, man. I'm just trying to get to
It's
learn.
quite a decent
you know.
practice track for a Logic, you know. So, from someone who's gone from using, you know, hardware for a while,
Right.
you know, because this is literally a switch, right? It's not as if you're using the MPC, you know, clocking it or something. You've literally gone from hardware to using Logic. What was that like?
Well, wasn't easy. You know, there's a person by the name of Theo Parrish that was drilling it into my head, like, man, you gotta get Logic. You gotta get Logic. When you're on the road, you need it. I'm like, man, fuck that Logic. I don't fuck that bullshit. And so, I think I was over a friend's house, and he showed me what to do. I was like, whoa, I see why you like Logic. Let me get Logic. And I got it, and I was hooked. You know.
Any particular patches or Simps that you like using?
Well, I'm not too familiar with everything yet. You know what I mean?
I'm still dabbling. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm still learning, and you know, ultimately, I just want to track out my analog, and from analog recording to Logic. You know what I mean? So, but I'm like I said, I'm still learning. So, anybody want to teach me some tricks? You know, so.
There's a couple here. We can help. We can help you with that. No, but it's great though. Even with this being your, you know, I guess your test track already.
Right.
You know, there's this kind of signature Mr. Pittman vibe going on. Yeah. So in terms of your approach to just, you know, getting this idea out, you know, talk us through just the elements. Just you know, there was obviously a driving kick drum, driving kind of like a womp womp, you know. But it's kind of peppered with these kind of mad sounds. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Talk us through the stages.
Well, one thing you have to know about me is growing up with my brothers, my three brothers, we love horror movies. We loved horror movies. Like when Star Wars came out, you know, dad like mom and dad, yeah, you want to see Star Wars? Like, no, we want to see Friday the 13th. Like, what? This boy's crazy. But the music in the horror flicks, oh my God, was sweet. Like Halloween. Oh, I thought that was so dope, man. And but stuff like that, that's what you hear. It's little horror flick influence, you know. I like it evil, you know. But I like it good, you know. Need balance, you know. So.
All right. Play something else, please.
Oh, sweet. Logic. Now, the one thing I need, somebody needs to teach me how, like on the MPC, you can sequence tracks. I need to learn how to sequence on this. And right now it's just 8 bars or 24 bars. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, that's another conversation.
Yeah, right.
That's another conversation.
Like I used to do. I did the one that's on Fit. I didn't use a sequencer. I had my recorder, and everything was just hand by hand, like for like 10 minutes. Just hi-hat 10 minutes, you know. And once I did the drum track, and I played everything on top of it live.
Okay.
So
it's like a layered recording.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, no sequencer.
There's a great, you know, that's also a great approach as well.
Yeah.
So you've got recordings out there that you've.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which ones?
Oh my goodness, what did I call that track? We got the internet. Hold on.
We'll talk to you in a second.
Man, my brains are fried right now. I'm jet lagging right now. So, but yeah, that's the track I did, you know, all live. So everything is just no sequencer, just straight up 10 minutes of hitting 1 foot, you know, hi-hats, you know. That was a fun track though. You know, it helped me to create more stuff. Like I like difficult stuff, you know, not the same old sequence, you know, 4-bar loop. It gets boring, you know. So eventually I would like to play live, you know. So
what, playing a kick drum live?
No, drums.
Oh, no, okay.
Drums.
So a bit more then. a few more fingers. Okay,
Yeah.
next question. Question in the front here.
Related to that track, do you have like a track in mind before you started?
No, it was just.
Did you feel like each layer influenced the next layer? Like, as
Yes, yeah. There was no like set pattern. Okay, I'm gonna start with the key of A. Nope, just go for it. Yeah. So.
Would you say that's your approach generally to production? Just go for it.
Most of the time, but like when I'm like places like here, and it always happens after I DJ. Like there's this track in my head and I can't get rid of it, and I manage to remember it and then go home and make it. Or if I bring my MPC 500, I can make it on the 500. You know, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good question. Next one. It's a question at the back there.
When you're not learning stuff, like on Logic or whatever, are you like just messing around having fun experimenting, or are you like reading the manual? Like,
What's your approach to
My
learning?
man. There's this thing in Detroit. A lot of the producers, everybody you know, except for maybe 1 or 2, nobody reads the manuals. Nobody. For MPC, I don't think I even have my manuals for MPC or even Logic. I just taught myself, you know, and, you know, a few pointers from Theo or somebody that has Logic, you know, but it's all raw dog. It's raw dog, you know, and that was just like how I started DJing, you know. My cousin sat 5 records in front of me and said, mix. You know, any DJ in Detroit would tell you that's how they started too. You know, it was like gang initiation or something. You know what I mean? So it wasn't nice. You know, the production and DJing in Detroit is not nice. It's not nice
What
at
do you mean
all.
by that?
Well, as far as you wanted to get started, in the DJ and production field is like, just like Amp Fiddler did with Jay Dilla. He gave him an MPC, said learn it. Where's the manual? No. You don't need a
It's
manual.
a tough love then.
Yes, sir. Yeah. That's how I like
But
it.
it pays off though, right?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. You see the body of work Jay Dillon did. Woof. Man.
I mean, it's interesting because, you know, on one hand, having the manual is useful, but also, you know, learning on your own terms means that you almost like steer your own journey, right? You know,
Right.
and then you have your own workflow and your own approaches, and then
Exactly.
happy mistakes become signature,
Right.
you know.
Right. That's exact. That, you know what? Night of the Sagittarius was a happy accident. It was a happy accident. We were making something, and I think Theo hit the wrong button, and it came out like that. We were like, "Woo! Let's keep that one." So, Night of the Sagittarius was a happy accident. Yeah.
So I get the sense that with you, there's you know, your approach is a lot about just almost being excited about what you're hearing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess your approach to, and getting the sense that your approach is obviously you've got ideas and there's, you know, you've got sounds that you're working on, samples that you're working with, but you embrace happy accidents. You embrace just shit that goes wrong. It's all about, if you're listening to something that sounds good, work with it, right?
Yeah. Why not? You know, if it sounds good, play it, put it out. You know. I mean, everything can't be perfect. You know, I don't think you should. Like, I was a perfectionist, man. I'm like, oh, no, the track is not finished. You know, and I let people hear it, like, man, that's sweet, man. You need to put that out. Another happy accident track. There are somebody's out there. Originally, I wanted it to be a hip-hop track.
Okay.
And
Do you have it with you?
well, I have it on vinyl.
Okay,
But not.
we'll hear it later. Just give us a shout out when you
What?
just stop
You-
everything and tell us you got it there.
You can YouTube it.
Let's YouTube it.
Yeah.
The wonders of onlineness.
Yes, sir.
Nicely.
Yep, happy accident. You know.
So it was at what 97 or whatever.
What's that?
The tempo. The tempo was.
This is YouTube.
Originally.
Original 120.
No, so
Oh,
you,
for
you
the,
said you said it was it started as a hip hop track, right?
The original tempo was 96 BPM.
Okay.
Yeah, and that like the acid sampler was much slower.
Okay.
And I was getting bored with that, and so started playing around with the sample. I was like, okay, this is how it's supposed to go. You don't need to do a hip hop track with that, you know. So that was the end result. Yeah.
So literally tempo.
Yeah, there we
from
go.
96 to 120 done.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that is that, you know, the first sample that we heard, it's almost like when you hear it on its own, it almost sounds, you know, the relationship between the kick and the sample is kind of a bit, you know,
Right.
yeah, it's unique, you know. But once the rest of the other, you know, shaker comes in, it just sits really nicely, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, happy accident, you know, and I had fun making it, and I when I first did a test of this in front of a crowd. It was in Chicago at the Smart Bar, and I didn't know I didn't care, but I didn't know how the reaction was going to be. And I just played it. I've never heard a reaction like that ever. Like, they scream so loud you can feel it in your chest. And like, everybody was, what the fuck is that, man? I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, okay.
And was that to a particular section of the song, or was it for you know? Because I know for us, I mean, you could feel it when the acid bit came in. It was almost like, okay,
yeah.
because it wasn't
as soon as that part came in, just the rush. I was like, whoa. I was like, well, I know what my next EP is going to be. And that's why on the flip side it's called Chicago Nights. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So when you were building the track, did you have a, you know, when you dropped the acid, did you have the same feeling that this could work?
Yeah. Like that's a sample. I can give away the sample. The sample is from Rick James. Okay. I won't say the album. You have to search for it. But it's from Rick James. And I was, like I said, I was playing around with the track, and I'm like, oh, it can go this way, it can go this way. I'm like, wow, let's see, you know, what I could do with it, and it worked. So
I'm curious. So did you, in terms of building, you know, obviously we have lots of different approaches, and starting with drums is always something that's very comfortable with people. So do you start with drums usually first, and then get a groove going, and then apply samples to that, you know, or do you find samples first?
It depends.
You know, what's your approach?
It depends, man. Like, I can do keys first, and bass, and the drums will come last, you know, or vice versa. Drums first, bass, then keys. You know, so there's no formula. There's no set. Okay, I have to drop the foot first, then you know.
Okay. Just feeling.
Yeah.
And in terms of processing and EQ and things like that, what's your, you know, how do you develop your tracks in terms of, you know, those side of things?
It depends on the sample. Like in Logic, I find that it's easy to EQ on here versus the analog. You have to go to your mixer and fine tune the kick and the hi-hat or the keys, you know, stuff like that. But you know, sometimes I don't EQ at all. Okay. You know, I just add a little reverb and call it a day. You know, that's it. You know, that's all.
Okay, I guess, you know, if you're happy with what you're hearing, then it works, right? Why try to over process or whatever? Right.
Okay. All right. Why make things complicated? Just let it flow. You know. And
but would you say there's a confidence, you know, you've been DJing for a long time, right? So you kind of have an idea of what rocks a crowd. So do you think there's a confidence that comes from, you know, from your DJing experience? There's a confidence in knowing that, you know, your approach to, you know, production is on the right path, or are you insecure sometimes?
Sometimes I was very insecure when I first started, you know, but now it's just let the crowd hear. If they like it, they like it. They don't, they don't. You know, some cities are different. You know, like I can play a track here that'll go well, and it won't go well in Berlin. You know what I mean? Or it'll go well in Berlin, but it won't go well in Detroit. You know. So, but it's just a feeling, man. I don't care no more. I don't give a fuck attitude. You know.
Sure.
You know, why care? You know. So.
I guess you're confident enough to say that.
Yeah. Why give a fuck?
So was it your confidence that drew you into the whole free chairs thing, do you think?
Well, see that this three chairs thing is really tricky, man. Back in 1998, which is when Three Chairs did a party. They will always have me, I guess, open for them. So I would play with them, and you know, everything would be all good. But fast forward to 2001, I think, around the time of 9/11. You know, we was over Kenny's house. All of, you know, Kenny, Rick, Theo, and myself. And, you know, we was shooting the shit, playing video games, drinking beer, smoking weed. And I just asked, like, what's up with Three Chairs, man? Y'all gonna do another one? And Kenny goes, I don't know, you wanna do something with us? I'm like, like, motherfucker, you heard me, you wanna do something with us? I'm like, yeah. And there you go. The first Three Chairs.
Okay.
With the black bone waltz, and, you know. Yeah.
That's quite a way to get in.
Yeah.
No initiation. Well, I guess that was a subtle initiation. He can drink.
Yeah, well,
he can smoke weed.
They hazed me a little. I got hazed, man. Woof, man. But you know, they always show love, even before the Three Chairs, you know.
So how does it work in terms of your, you know, writing and composition and production, and then how does that also translate to you DJing in terms of how you divvy up the
with Three Chairs?
Yeah.
It's usually I might do an individual track, like say the Demigod EPs is all of our individual tracks, and with the album, some of us collaborated. You know, it depends. You know, if Theo and Rick decide to do a track, it's Three Chairs, but you never know it's Rick and Theo. You know what I mean? Or like myself and Theo. You know, or myself and Kenny. You know, or it might be all four of us in the room. Like with Three Chairs theme, that was all four of us together. So. Yeah, but
so
it varies.
So there's no manifest. I mean, you know, apart from friends making music together.
No, there's no. Okay, I'm gonna do the beat. You do the key note. It's just go for it. Okay. You know, and I think it flows better that way. You know, instead of being like, you know, okay, you man your station type thing. That doesn't work. You know.
And does the same approach apply when you're DJing together?
Yes. I mean, you can see it like I think there's a video on YouTube with where are we at? Deck Mantle. Yeah, that was a fun gig. Like it was whatever. And actually, we were fighting. You know, to see who would play next. Like I would get off the tables and put my record up. And then Kenny goes and put a record on. I'm like, damn, you fucker. You know? And so wait till he done, you know, and I'm looking through my records, and there Theo goes. I'm like, damn. So with us, you got to be fast, you know, or we're going to take over the tables. You know, there's no, okay, it's your turn. Nope. You got to grab your turn, you know, so, yeah.
So quick wits is a definitely Free Chairs requirement.
Exactly.
Okay. So what's next for Free Chairs?
That's up in the air, man. Everybody's doing their thing, man, you know. Taking care of babies and stuff, you know, and people touring, you know. people making albums and stuff. So, you know, it's in the air, man. You know, but we always gonna do something, you know.
So for us producers who want to take inspiration from your approach to the free chairs, what guidance can you give us? What should we think about?
Wow. Well, first, hopefully you like music, because there's a lot of people that don't like music. They make stuff just to get the car and the money and the girl. So if you're into music, please like music. Like the sounds of music. Be yourself. Do not try to emulate anyone. Just be yourself. Do you. Don't try to sound like Carl Craig or Mike Huckabee. Sound like you. You know. It's okay to be influenced by them, but trying to be like them is like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, I've heard tracks by certain producers, and it's like, you might as well just let Larry Heard do his thing, man. You know, why are you trying to sound like Larry? We have Larry. Larry's one of the greatest of all time. We don't need another Larry. We need another you, one of you. You know, there can only be one of you, not two of you. You know what I mean? Unless you're a twin. You know. So. Yeah, just be yourself, man. Don't feed into the trends, man. You know, oh man, still cracking up. Yeah, man. So, and make sure that you have gear that you know you're comfortable working with. Like I don't own an 808 or a 909. That's just me. I mean, I like the 808 and 909, but I don't own one. I don't own a Juno. I don't own the latest trendy thing. The only thing I own that's trendy is the MPC. So, and I'll put, because I'm comfortable with the MPC. But I can tell when these producers, they buy, okay, I gotta get the Juno 106 because everybody has it. Me, I don't want the Juno. I want something that no one talks about. You know, so just find the equipment that you are comfortable with. You know, and then you go a long way. Even with Logic or Pro Tools or Machine, Native Instruments, stuff like that. Find whatever you can work with and you're comfortable with, and then your music is gonna go a long way.
Marcellus, thank you so much, man.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.